About to start right now. Islam Moors. Let's get on the prayer. In and out. Yeah. Both. Going both with it. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, His holy prophet, Noble Juali. Ashe. What a week! What a week!
Rome fell.
Rome fell this week, and we're going to keep falling. We're not going to stop. We want to say Islam to all the Moors that are present online, as well to all the Moors worldwide. We're going to start with the reading from the Prophet to be read every meeting, so we can be clear as to what he expected from the Moors. Keep in mind once again that a lot of the literature from Noble Juali is spoken from the context of spirit first and whatever else after. So always read it with the perspective in mind that he is speaking to us from a higher level through his words. He's not just speaking what's on the page. He's actually speaking from other realms when he speaks to the Moors. So we're going to read March 18th letter to be read every meeting. Islam, I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the last few years. So when we speak about Noble Juali, even though he was an individual, a man, a human being, we're not in the business of worshiping. We recognize that the message that he brought to the Asiatics of America is for them to recognize that their situation is horrible and that there's a way to make the situation better. So that's why today's class, we call today's class the Black Shadow Zombie Apocalypse. Right? Because our people are so beat up, and they don't recognize, or they don't want to recognize, how important what the Moors say is. So they become victims. So we have we got to talk about Baltimore.
Okay.
Because that's the big thing right now. Big dummies. Right? So we're gonna talk about Baltimore. Now we know that right now, well not right now, from in the middle of the week to today, they had a curfew going on in Baltimore, right? It's real interesting that the curfew was lifted on fight night. Curfew was lifted on fight night. Okay? You have the stateless, Mayweather, fighting the national Pacquiao, right? You know, of course, all the zombies are going to go with their so-called brother, Mayweather or whatever, right? And no different than we were talking about, um, no different than we were talking about NBA Rookie of the Year, homegrown talent, right? Andrew Wiggins, who we told people that he's going to win. When we did the class about the sports and talking about, you know, the basketball or whatever, and, you know, having this all-star game with the teams, and then the international team, you know, Canada was represented in the international team, not the U.S. team, right? So Canada is trying to legitimize themselves right now because, you know, all the issues that they had, Venezuela and all these other people telling them they're a fraud. Are you a colony? Are you, what are you? You don't know what you are. You guys can't come to the conferences that are happening in the Americas because you don't know who you are, right? So all the so-called sports right now is not sports anymore. Everything right now is entertainment. Everything right now is entertainment. And we know ment means mind, so we know that they're brainwashing people. Right? Entertain the mind. Alright? So the curfew got lifted because
Sorry,
yeah.
Remember, it was May 2nd at 5 and 2.
With the curfew?
Yep.
Oh, wow. So May 2nd, curfew got lifted, right?
That's the 7th.
Which
right
is
there.
5, right? On the left. Right? 2 on the right. Right? So we already know what frequency they're vibrating on. They're using our sciences to make sure that they have their things manifest, right? And it's not stopping here. It's something that's going to continue. We just, you know, put some stuff out there. There was some other number stuff that you had there. What else did you have
Well,
out there?
just more or less, the state attorney, she was like Marilyn Mosby. Like if you add up all the numbers in her name, she's a 3. Right? Good. Then you add up Freddie Gray. All his numbers are 3. Now, the next thing is Marilyn Mosby. She was 35 years old, which is an 8. And
then you know, 8 is infinity.
And then Freddie Gray, he was 25, which is a 7.
So they have this thing down to a science, right? They have this thing down to a science. The the indictment, right? So all these so-called officers got indicted for this killing. 6 of them. Right?
6, 7, 8.
Okay, so these 6 people got indicted, right? And they dropped the curfew in order to, suppress the masses so that, they don't burn down their own stuff anymore, right? How come state attorney didn't get indicted?
Mm-hmm.
How come chief of police didn't get indicted? How come the mayor didn't get indicted? Matter of fact, the mayor in all the so-called cities, we know that the mayor is the one who selects chief of police. And all those people who say that they're officer or whatever like that, they work for the mayor. But mayor wasn't indicted. Which means that, that there's obviously conspiracy, right? There's obviously conspiracy, and people are protecting who they want to protect. But all this can happen because you have the stateless zombies thinking that they're citizens of something. You have the stateless zombies under the assumption that somebody cares what they think. The stateless people assume that they have rights. The stateless people think that because somebody got indicted means that, something's going to happen to those people. When the reality is that all these things are happening in order to keep the masses at bay so that these Europeans who are using Asiatics to carry out their, fraud of being government or whatever. Remember, black police chief just got whatever here. They got all these black police chiefs everywhere else. They got black mayors. They got state whatever, black people. They got all these black people, and then we know black means pale, etymologically. So we have all these pale people in power all over the world, or all over North America, under the guise of therefore their people, when they have no intentions of freeing their people. Their job is to make sure that the European Inquisitionists stay alive for a little bit longer. Because we know that since 1933, they've been bankrupt, insolvent, and dissolved. And they don't have a government. There's no government that is called Canada or U.S. since 1933. That's why they just came out. Province just came out. What they say now, trillion? What Canada's in debt?
Oh, I think it's 2 trillion.
$2 trillion.
Number right there.
2 trillion. Debt.
But they're going to balance the books.
Right? 2 trillion debt. Okay? But then they're going to tell people, pay stuff. And then people are paying stuff with debt. Which means that this is only going to increase. Because if you're going to pay, it has to be with something of value. And if there's no value, then the debt is only going to rise. That's just what it is. It's nothing, that's just what it is. If you owe me 50 and you don't give me 50 back, you give me, negative stuff that means nothing, your debt stays there. Your debt's not going away. Right? So, I took the opportunity, because of this debt system or whatever like that, just to see what's up. So I got we spoke with Brother Seth and Rabe, and he told us about taking advantage of discharging our so-called obligations that we have to these people who are asking us for finance or whatever. So I got a letter from Barbara K.H. Dam. Let's just put her on blast right now. Barbara K.H. Dam, right? Now we know, we know that in order to stop movement, they use a dam to stop movement. So, this is why, as Moors, we look at everything, esoterically, metaphysical. We don't look at things as face value, right? And Barbara Dam works for some barristers and solicitors called KRMC. Now, the reason why we're putting this out is so that Moors can take into consideration that we're 102 years behind where we're supposed to be. We're 102 years behind where we're supposed to be because Ujwali came in 1913, right? 2015 right now, and we still don't have this stuff together yet. We still don't know what's up yet, right? So don't get caught up in having bankrupt, insolvent, dissolved people acknowledge your position. That's not why we do what we do, right? We don't write writs, and we don't challenge challenge the authority of individuals who claim to have judicial, executive, whatever power in order to get a response from them that's going to be beneficial to us.